Make some noise for Gunnar. That man is very handsome. We need to talk about their competition. Yes, once again, it's going to be a new roster, but when we think about this event in particular and what they've been able to accomplish as an organization, you have to start thinking, will they be able to do it again? 2017, they were able to take this very event. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for VP. Now, when you talk about 2017 and winning this event, they went on to have one of the most dominant seasons that we've ever seen from a team in this entire game after that victory. The roster of VP remained concrete for a year and a half, now mixing things up. Will they finally have that winning recipe? Will they be able to march forward, not only being dominant in a season, but pulling down the biggest victory in tournaments? This is where they're going to be put to the test, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, let's hear it for VP. Two new rosters, only one's going to come out on top. Folks, we're going to go back to the desk. Let's see who's going to win the second series of the day.
Fantastic couple of fantastic teams, obviously, that we saw earlier on in our first series, and now two more fantastic teams we get a treat in our second series of the day too. These two are, of course, synonymous with Dota 2 and with esports as a whole, changing up their rosters for this season. It's also a battle of old captains against each other, Solo versus PPD. And gents, as we move towards the draft, that becomes the focus, doesn't it? Those two going head-to-head. They've had plenty of games down the years. These might be new rosters, but they're mind games. They know each other very well.
Absolutely. We talked so much in the open about the new arrivals for these two teams. Let's give the veterans their due. PPD's drafts, though, you asked BSJ earlier, does this seem like a PPD team? I want to ask you, do these feel like PPD drafts? Because I think there's been something missing so far for this NIP team, and it's hard to put your finger on it.
Yeah, I've talked to PPD before, when he was back last year, as well as when he was on Optic, and every team you're on, you face these different limitations, where whether it's player hero pool, player experience, whatever the patch is, maybe isn't your style, and, the major thing for me is that PPD seems to struggle when it comes to these limitations. I've talked to him about it, and it seems like he's trying to enable his cores that are a little bit less experienced, and maybe he feels like they're trapped in the laning stage. Maybe he feels like it's the mid game. And it really shows last year when they had the problem in the mid lane with Fata, they didn't have this true mid laner who was kind of going to lose his lane most games. And his frustration is, like you said, there's nothing you can pinpoint. You say, how do you solve this problem? And you end up falling behind on drafts, and you end up trying to fix problems that create new problems, and that it's just so combobulated.
And meanwhile, on the other things, right, you got Solo, who nobody thought he was going to be with this team. This was the story well before Epicenter, that Solo is the one guy that's gone, and all of a sudden we're seeing him back with VP this year. I like the way that he has tried to protect that safe lane so far in this tournament, but it's clearly been something they've had to invest a lot of draft capital in that lane.
Yeah, they definitely have. In the same way as PPD struggled with something, has Solo struggled with those drafts as well?
I think it's, to me, I think Solo is in the experimentation phase where he's trying a lot of different things. He knows that his young carry position player has a couple of comfort heroes in the Naga Siren and the Phantom Laster that he just wants to play. He's looking for other solutions, laning configurations that can sustain that pressure. Peter, I think it's more, he's concentrated a lot on these mid-game kind of tempo carries. I haven't seen the same kind of drafts with scaling potential, and I think that's hurt them in a couple of these games that have gone long.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the stats there, Brian, as well. There was an amazing stat where pretty much all the way through, it favors Virtus.pro, but there's one at the very end where if it goes longer than 50 minutes, NIP are 69% more likely to win.
I don't know about that. That's tough. You are going into the bans, though. You're going to see the Magnus ban. Magnus now, I think it's 15 straight games. It's been picked or banned in the first phase for Virtus.pro, so that's something that's priority. I am curious where the lean is going to go in this draft, because that's been an insane flex pick for NIP. Both Biver and, of course, Gunnar in the mid lane have had a lot of success on the hero.
No surprise here with the opening Void. You can't counter this hero. That's my problem. You can go with the save route. You can go, Wyvern as the Cold Embrace to save any Chronosphere target, but then they can respond with something like Skywrath Mage. So instead they go for an early push strat.
Yeah.
Void does lack D-push. Virtus.pro, obviously, I think Wyvern is their best pick, something like that. Mirana to deal with the catapults. We've talked about that throughout the entire group stage. It goes well with the Void. It solves the 5-minute catapult problem, that the pressure that's created on the Void's lane. And Ninjas and Pyjamas is already threatening that with 2 early push heroes.
I just love this. We saw this the other night. This was the TNC answer to the first phase Void, the Chen Beastmaster strat, where you get into that lane. Void early on feels like a very strong laner, provided he can use that time walk to really get out of being harassed in lane. If you put a really strong right clicker in lane against him, plus the potential for roaming pressure, he has a lot harder time staying up on that creep wave. We saw a Puck matchup against Void the other night in lane. I think Beastmaster can accomplish something similar.
It's all about the ranged 4, I think, that you pair with it to enable the Beastmaster, because Beastmaster, a few patches back, got some base armor nerfs, and that made him lose these trades. So it comes down to the support duo to really tip the balance in favor of the Beastmaster in this lane. This is a very snowball-based lane. Like, if Beastmaster gets pushed out, I can't really imagine any early pressure being created by this Chen. But on the other hand, if Beastmaster gets 6 before Void, I think Void's going to be booted out way earlier than he wants to be, losing his tier 1, probably even getting his tier 2 pressured super early on in this game.
Absolutely, and that's the situation where in this tournament we've seen Voids who do poorly in lane. They just don't have that same kind of mid-game comeback potential that a hero like Templar Assassin, for example, would have when she's forced out of her lane. Now, I'm going to go so far as to say this. I think not banning Alchemist here against NIP is a mistake. This Alch-Chen combo is not something that I want to play against.
Pretty much every carry who gets a Chen just
Fair enough.
Farming their lane. You can also stack camps like Chen. I've played with Chen a lot myself, and there's just so many small creeps that still help the lane. The Harpy, even the Ghost creep that slows and does piercing damage for getting the last hits. It does like 70 damage or so to creeps. And it just secures any hero to get free farm, and then the Chen ends up taking over your lane, similar to most other like Wyvern type heroes that defend your safe lane tower. And it really sets you up to jungle really well, because the Chen can recall the carry or any of the other cores that would previously not want to TP to their own safe lane to defend the tower.
And to be fair, there are a lot of heroes in the NI pool that fit that profile. So the tankier carries. Razor's another one that we've seen out of Gunnar that could also particularly benefit from that divine favor. Looking on the side of VP, what do you think we're looking at in the, you've got the Void Mirana combo, which is obviously very powerful, but do you think you're looking at something, Shadow Demons out of the pool, Bane's the other kind of Mirana counter? You imagine VP are gonna go 3rd pick support?
It kind of depends on what Ninjas and Pyjamas presents them with here. If they pick a 4 or like a flex pick, I'm almost certain VP will do the support so that they can see what that flex pick is revealed to be. Because sometimes they can almost make it so they have 3 flex rolls. You're not 100% sure what their lane setup's going to be. And since you have first pick on Virtus.pro, you want this 3rd, 4th pick combo to be 2 lane counters.
This is where you have to win the draft. The Rubik, I actually feel, is a really smart pick here. I think VP would have picked it if it had been offered to them. Obviously, the big thing is the counter to the Void.
Yeah, and it counters a lot of these safe laners that Void likes to be, or the 5 positions that Void likes to be paired with, such as the Jakiro. That Stolen Ice Path is pretty brutal, and it kind of limits a lot of these heroes that throw damage into the Chrono. A lot of them are very bad against Rubik.
Yep. OD, of course, mentioned on our SAP suggested picks here, is another very popular ranged pairing with the Void. You do have to worry about the laning counters and the Pugnant snipers. We've seen so many times in this tournament if you go in that direction.
Do they go something like CM? Just
I'll tell you, CM is one of those big, the list of big 6 heroes coming into this tournament, CM is the only one that we really haven't seen picked.
Yeah, even though you have the Mirana to rotate for the catapults, you do want to have a support with nuking wave clear potential, because even just getting dove somewhat early with the Chen rotations is a huge problem when you're a hero like Void with no wave clear. And they're threatening a lot of push. Rubik is also a 4 position hero that just shoves the lane into your tower. Okay, so they do go for a summoning stunner.
Sure.
You know, the cast does last for 5 seconds on creeps, so it does help you clear the creeps.
And again, with proper placement, obviously you don't want to place that Death Ward inside the Chronosphere, but with proper placement, that offers you some damage potential in the Chrono as well. It's a support. It's going to help with that lane aggression. Obviously against the Beastmaster, you get the bounces off the boars on your casks, but I still think that off lane is going to be off lane versus safe lane. You could kind of have read it coming into the series based on the problems that VP have had in this tournament, but I think that's what we're seeing so far in the first 3 picks.
Yeah, I think either team, whichever one rotates to the Virtus.pro safe lane, like if Pyjamas makes the aggressive rotation, if Virtus.pro makes the defensive rotation to boot the Beastmaster out, I think that's going to be a huge momentum shift like early on in the game, because Beastmaster and Void are very feast or famine type heroes in the early game. If they can show in lane, they farm really fast and pressure the tower. If they can't, like we said, Void doesn't want to retreat to the jungle. Beastmaster, he wants to be pushing towers and applying pressure with that roar.
Just to double check, I'm pretty sure I know the answer here, but Void, 95% a safe laner to you here?
Yeah.
Okay. We haven't seen many offlane Voids in terms of flex picks lately. It's been exclusively a safe laner. First phase, most of its picks at this event. But again, we've seen Epikit have a couple of up and down performances on Void here in the recent past.
Yeah. You'd hate to swap it up just because you don't have like faith in your carry player to play the hero. Void's really the only carry hero you can pick right now, and it doesn't matter what dual lane he's against, he's going to have a decent game. Like you said, there's been people that have presented problems like the Puck from Beast Coast that put a ton of pressure on the Void, but for the most part, this hero has no bad lane matchups, and eventually he's just the best hero with farm in the entire game of Dota right now. The Bash late game, it used to just do flat damage, now it's basically a 200% crit. He just scales too well with farm, I think, to not put him in the one position.
I'm not gonna lie here, this Ember Spirit makes me nervous. Through yesterday's game, Ember Spirit was 1 win and 12 losses here at ESL 1 Hamburg. This hero has really, really struggled, and a lot of times it's gotten punished early.
I think it's the roots that have really hurt this hero a lot. You just die in so many more ways. There's so many extra heroes that counter you. You can pick these pucks that you couldn't previously pick.
Rod of Atos, right?
Yeah,
that's just, I've seen Rod of Atos ruin this hero.
Yeah, that's basically what happened to this hero. Is there's one or two extra deaths in the mid game. Just slow. Yeah, there's the roots, right?
Oh yeah.
This hero in the old days couldn't play against Ember because Ember could just get away with remnants and slide a fist, and now most Underlords do the Atos build where you root them with the Pit of Malice and then you Atos them and then the Pit of Malice is off cooldown again. And for this particular matchup, I don't think Ember can buy a Yules because I think you Yules off the Pit of Malice and then you land in it again. So that's a nice way to catch the Ember, and that's the problem that I think answers your why Ember Spirit's been struggling at this tournament, is that you can just kill him so much more easily. You have the root into arrow now, and I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be a mid-Ember because it's just a gunner special, right?
Absolutely. I think it's one of his comfort heroes, but the other thing that the Underlord does is it gives you a huge degree of tempo control against this Chen Beastmaster lineup. If they decide to get aggressive, think about diving towers early on, Underlord is that big old stop sign.
There's no bigger D-pusher in the early to mid game, not only because he has the wave clear from Firestorm, but also because his ultimate serves as like a second TP. So a lot of times with Chen lineups, what they'll do is they'll force pressure on a tower, and then Chen will TP to another lane and recall his core very quickly, usually a core that TP to that tower, which is usually not possible to do. But Underlord's one of the few heroes that can respond to the initial push and respond to the secondary push. We'll be looking to see Underlord basically be planning himself, like you said, as a barrier in front of any pushes. He should be there at all times, and we saw 33 on Alliance yesterday play Bristleback for the Void. It serves as a hero that front lines and forces attention to himself. That makes the chrono easier, right? You usually can either put a primary initiator to have the chrono be follow-up, or you can have a hero that kind of forces attention to themselves. And this is another hero that does that exact same thing, and Necro's lane matchup against Ember's actually better than it used to be because Heartstopper Aura is a magic damage, and it ticks off your Flame Guard when it previously would not do quite enough damage with your Death Pulse.
I was just going to say, I've seen, for whatever reason, the couple of high-level pub replays I've seen recently, I've seen some Embers absolutely get ruined in lane by Necrophos. That lane matchup looks drastically different to me than even a couple of months ago.
And this shuts down a lot of the heroes that are very good against Underlord in lane, the Slark type heroes, these elusive heroes that want to just feed off of the Underlord's beefiness, and Necro just shuts a lot of those down.
Yeah, it's just scary looking at these 5 picks from VP. There's just so much disable, so much catch. We figured it's still a little bit of flex value. The Ember Spirit, he could be safe lane, but we figure we are looking at the safe lane for the final pick for VP here.
Yeah, I have to believe so. You're for NIP, you mean, right?
For NIP, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, absolutely.
You have to pick a hero that threatens them when they show on lanes, because you have Underlord and Necro, two heroes that's really job in the game is to walk down lanes and push Q, and they shove the lanes. And right now,
Okay, there's the.
Okay.
I like that. So that's. Do you think
does
that
do
this
that.
is mid Pugna or safe lane Pugna?
this is mid Pugna.
Okay,
It's
so
one of the
they're
few
bailing on
heroes.
the Ember matchup against the Necro.
Yeah, Necro is one of the best sustained heroes in the game, right? So the best way to deal with him is to kill him from full to zero, and Pugna's one of the few heroes that can do that with his level 6. Him and Leshrac come to mind. So I like that last pick for Ninjas Pyjamas. Gunner, quite a good Pugna player, but I think it's much harder for them to play this game than it is for VP.
Okay, battle of the wheels between the two. Who's had a better draft, Solo or PPD?
I think the Underlord pick is the trump card. I look at every other part of this VP lineup, and they have to play around a lot of cooldowns. They have to time their tower pushes very carefully against the pressure of the Beastmaster Chen core on the side of NIP, but I think that Underlord pick is going to be enough to let them control tempo.
All right, it's time to head over to our commentary team for series number 2, game number 1. It's Capitalist and Blitz.
A very different series, this, compared to Wind and Rain versus Beast Coast, and it's going to result in a very, very different draft. We talked about like Void being ignored in the last series, and Underlord being picked up even in this last one. This is certainly unique, Blitz.
It's probably one of the few Underlord games that I'm actually okay with, because I actually think the hero is pretty bad, but I think that in this specific set of win conditions, I think it's actually pretty good.
So ignoring the draft, what do you think about the team matchups, though? Virtus.pro versus Ninjas and Pyjamas. Do you have a favorite between the two? Because I'll say both don't look quite so hot. In fact, we see the odds favoring Virtus.pro. Maybe that's just a bunch of like CIS fanboys backing their team, but I would say VP has not been looking great.
Neither has NIP, really.
True.
Like, who did they beat at this tournament? They 2-0'd Wind and Rain, who were obviously a much better team than everyone gave credit for, but aside from that, that was their only series win.
Yeah.
So far, they got 2-0'd by everybody else, and their other 2-0 was the forfeit victory over Quincy.
That's true. Yeah.
Whereas VP, I mean, they haven't looked great, but they have pulled out some wins.
All right, well, we're going to head into it with the Necrophos mid, safe lane Void, off lane Underlord. And Blitz, I'm kind of excited because we don't normally like disagree too much on the draft. I actually like that Pugna last pick. I think like one-to-one heroes, right, does well against Necrophos. I think it bodies Underlord. I think it's actually not bad versus Void. Why do you think it's a bad pick, or why do you think NIP's draft is bad?
I don't know. I feel like I would have liked a little bit more burst damage. I'm not sure why. I just think that if I'm looking at their lineups, when they get their initial roar off, I don't know how quickly they kill the Necrophos and get rid of the Void and get rid of the Underlord. Especially if the Underlord gets a good laning phase, he's going to get things like Pipe Greaves.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a lot of that damage that you're putting out onto that Necrophos and that Void going to get mitigated. And all it takes is like one good chrono. As what?
Well, this combo is not assured arrows, that's for sure. Paralyzing Cask into Mirana arrow.
Yeah, but I feel like you just shoot that higher, right?
Yeah, probably. Well,
Chen's pretty slow.
they didn't learn, I guess.
It's fine.
Got to shake those things off, especially since, as you said, this is going to be scary if the Underlord does have a good laning phase, and I'm pretty certain he's going to.
Yeah.
The
I would
Ember
imagine
versus Ember matchup is not that good for Ember.
Yeah, Ember doesn't get chains anymore, so you're not really harassing him too much. You can stand under your Firestorm and be perfectly fine. All melee versus Underlord matchups feel really terrible.
Well, we're going to see what Peter can do in lane with his level 1 Divine Favor plus Headdress.
It's so hard for Ember Spirit to deny Underlord once he gets a Quelling Blade.
Yeah.
With his passive, he deals so much damage.
I think the biggest thing about Underlord is just like make sure you get those first 2 or 3 levels, and then from there, even if you die or whatever, you're gonna have a chance to be able to get plenty of CS. You're gonna continue your farm, and you're just gonna keep on running down lanes, and that's something that BSJ was, I think, kind of talking about there, both for the Underlord as well as the Necrophos. 2 cores that are just able to kind of shove in lanes, and that'll naturally create some space for our Faceless Void carry.
Yeah. and this is just going to be more of a farming back and forth, I would imagine. And when we say that it's a good good lane for the Underlord, it doesn't mean that Ember's not going to get anything. It's just that Rezo's going to get a lot out of this lane too.
Yeah. What about our other lanes? What about that mid lane matchup that we see between the Pugna and Necrophos?
And this should be relatively even in that Gunnar can always nuke for the range creep, and he can always decrep for denying CS and forcing no one to use his mana or to use his pulse, but it looks like the matchup right now is going pretty heavily in favor of the Necro. I thought this was a 50-50 matchup, but it's been a while since I played it, so forgive me if I'm wrong.
Don't worry, I'm sure that these two probably haven't played the matchup too often lately either. They certainly have not been the most meta of heroes. And then we've got our safe lane from Virtus.pro, which is going to be that Faceless Void that we talked about earlier, guarded by Solo's Witch Doctor against Universe's Beastmaster and Viver's Rubik. A lane that should be really annoying for the Void, I would imagine, between Fade Bolt and then Boar Harassment.
Yeah, and Solo, I mean, he's going to find the Hawk eventually. It's not in its work already, though. Denied so many different pulls.
Yeah, you get a little bit of gold, some experience, but they just want to make sure that Solo can't do the constant pulling that really disrupts the laning phase and actually gives the Void a solid lane. He'd rather be last hitting under tower than have to deal with Rubik and Beastmaster harassing him constantly.
Beastmaster also having a very free lane for himself. Both offlaners looking like they're getting quite a lot out of their lanes. And it's really this mid lane so far that has been quite in favor of no one.
No one still being that dominant mid laner. Did you guys get a much chance to be able to scrim against this VP team?
Yeah, I think a few times. I mean, no one is still the same player, right?
Yeah.
Still almost always wins his lane. He's just kind of oppressive to play against because you know that he's getting CS all the time. Gunner's going to bottle a haste rune. Not sure if he's going to be able to use that offensively or anything like that.
Out of curiosity, which would you find like scarier? The no one that is, you know, just able to win his lane, then run around killing stuff, or do you find like that the carry style no one that sometimes happen?
I'm more afraid of the one that just runs around killing everybody. Solo's going to get gone on. Opted to take this hero because it is a good matchup against the Witch Doctor against the Chen and the Beastmaster.
Yep. See, Gunner decrepifying just to make sure he secures the range creep. That's all important for him, but still losing the CS battle quite heavily. He's 11 down in regular creeps and 5 denies behind as well.
Yeah, the good news for him though is his safe laner has more or less free farm. Save is gonna go for the arrow, but lands on the big creep might have just been what he intended in the first place. So it looks like this is gonna be a pretty good bounty split for NIP, in fact, as they grab 3 of them.
Yeah, that actually could have been 4 if Peter could have out-clicked save for that last one, but sadly not the case there. I just gotta laugh, man. Like, talk about neutering a hero. Chen is literally just a regen bot. He just shows up in lane with his passive and his Ring of Headdress, and he just gives the Ember Spirit enough regen to survive through the lane.
Yeah, and the weird part about both lineups is they're really passive in the early game. Like, until they get levels, no one's gonna move around. There's not going to really be any deaths in the lanes, I feel like. Both offlaners are quite tanky. Save.
Oh, Save might be in trouble here.
Oh, wow, he actually
triple leap
did it all.
away. Meanwhile, no one in mid lane does manage to force out the glyph just off of this siege wagon. Does get a decent amount of damage, though. Really pressuring this Pugna. I think the Pugna, he kind of needs to have a strong laning phase, right?
Oh, I think he might be dead here.
Dead here. Just a misstep there from Gunner. Did not read how much damage no one could do.
You can see the frustration on his face. He knows, as no one's got to feel really good. I didn't think any kills were going to happen, actually, until the Beastmaster hit level 6.
Yeah.
Or the Void decided to make a rotation down with this Chronosphere, but instead it's going to come in that mid lane. And it feels so good when you do it without a gank.
Yeah.
With all that XP. You deny so much farm on the other side, and it's, in fact, the Necrophos that's pressuring the tower. It's usually the Pugna that does this, but he's dead for another 10 seconds because of the Reaper Scythe.
And because he forced that glyph earlier, this is just going to be all free damage. Resolution is going to be in trouble in the bottom lane. All those rocks come hailing down from the mini golems, and Resolution will eventually die here.
Very nice by PBD.
Save. Not much he can really do to stop that. So as a result, Ninjas in Pyjamas, a very small lead right now in net worth. Obviously, that's no one gonna be top of the board right now, thanks to that solo kill mid. Gunner just with a big misplay.
Yeah, now he's level 7. He's had absolute free farm. And we talked about how if all 3 of the cores come online, I feel like there's going to be damage missing on the side of NIP. No one is a little bit low,
good
though.
Scan. Perfectly reads that there is that rotation coming in from Viver.
He's going to wait and be patient. This range creep is going to be the death of him if he decides to go for it, but that's why he's hanging back. And it looks like he's actually going to go for the Greaves, and it's going to be the Underlord that most likely goes like Pipe or something. Atos Pipe.
Yeah.
I'm okay with either of the decisions.
Atos would definitely be sick in this game to, get that chain stun with your pit. Also, additional control against the Ember Spirit, but this lineup, it's not necessarily about killing the enemy team, right? It's just about surviving through their magic damage burst.
Yeah.
So maybe Pipe is a little bit more warranted.
Pretty
for
good
that.
catch.
That's
they're heavily relying on the Faceless Void, but if I look at the heroes in the game right now, it feels all right. As
Galactic Kid gonna make his first rotation into the mid lane with the Chronosphere out with an arrow on top of that. The Reaper's Scythe Gunner is dead once again for 40 seconds, thanks to the additional death timer.
And think about how long the Rubik waited there. Viver was waiting in that area for well over 2 minutes, and instead it's the rotation from the Faceless Void that nets that kill, and Gunner's just getting abused right now.
Yeah, 4 heroes in the mid lane, use of the Chronosphere and the Reaper's Scythe. That's some serious hate right there, but VP, you can make those kind of plays with the early Chronosphere.
I think
Why not? You're not going to use it much anyway. Resolution's going to be in some trouble here. He's trying with that Firestorm to burn out the Flame Guard, and that'll be just enough with no one TPing in as well. Resolution might be fine unless Skeeter can finish him off with his double damage to jump forward onto the Remnant. Save trying to hit him with the arrow, but the Remnant wasn't quite enough. Skeeter really thought that he had it there.
And Skeeter decides to go for it again. He's going to waste all his Remnants. Got to be a little bit afraid now.
I mean, he was free. He could have just, Remnanted in, kind of chased the Underlord. He didn't have to jump away right. But
They should try to connect towards mid, though, because they brought so many different heroes for this. I don't think you're in a good position if you allow them to completely reset off of this move. PPD going to bring in Skeeter as well. This will be 4 heroes, and Gunner's going to secure this tower for them. And I'd like to see them now make this move towards top. You can already tell that the Faceless Void doesn't want to be in this position.
yeah.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. And once you open up this top lane, there's a lot of possibilities. You can smoke back into your own jungle, which I think would be the play that I decide to go for.
Yeah, just kind of clear that out, especially since VP is going to be trying to mirror you. You can already see
so what
our
you do
vision that they're doing so.
is you set up 3 heroes up here. You help the Beastmaster take the tower, and all of a sudden you have 3 heroes smoking down towards bottom, and you can get some deep vision down yourself, de-ward some stuff. You probably don't save this tower, but you at least want to root them out of the jungle.
Yeah. You TP together to like tier 2 or the strike. If you want to make a faster play. Underlord's going to be pushing in mid. Viver thinking about popping his head out with a Fate Bolt and trying to pull some of these creeps off the tower, but he's immediately going to get jumped on here.
I'm surprised he decided to show.
Yeah.
I would have liked that play if the rest of his team decided to come over, as Rezo going to get roared up mid. This should be a trade here.
No chance for Rezo to survive, especially since he doesn't have the Hood of Defiance. So that is that rotation you were kind of talking about, where they secure that top tower and then they just kind of rotate through the map downwards, and they just happen to collide with Resolution in mid instead of making their way all the way down to bottom. That's a fair trade-off for a 4 position for a 3.
They don't have Roar, but this might just be a free kill on the solo if they set things up right. You're getting him a little bit low. PPD going to come around with the creeps.
2 to 3, 11.5 minutes in. Ninjas in Pyjamas. Oh, Resolution's going to TP in. They're going to try and contest this tower. The rest of Virtus.pro a ways away. But as the aggression comes out from Skeeter, defensive rotation from no one. Leptic, he's going to be able to get the two-man Chronosphere, and no one, as well as Solo, they're going to be able to close the distance pretty soon here with the arrow on top of Gunnar. Looks like he's just going to get bursted down 100-0 just like last time. Gunnar, truly the sacrificial mid laner for Ninjas in Pyjamas at this point.
I don't really feel like you can be in a game like this, though, because he represents so much of their damage right now.
Yep.
That having him get jumped on is pretty rough. And right now for NIP, the only form of initiation that they really get is either the Rubik Lift or the Roar. And with how weak their heroes are right now, that doesn't feel very good as a way to start fights.
Yeah, certainly, like, you're talking about Gunnar dying this much. You're the last big hero. You know, you're supposed to be the one that solves all these problems.
I don't know what hero I would have put in this position. I think I suggested Tinker.
Yes.
But like, I needed some sort of hero that would overall carry this game, and I don't know if Pugna's that. Plus, I just wanted like constant chip damage.
Certainly at this kind of rate. I mean, this is a VP squad that you look at their roster, it's a slower lineup for sure. If they're doing this well in the early game, you're going to be really happy with yourselves because you're only going to get stronger from here. At best, Nip is going to hit like a really big mid-game window about 25 minutes in.
Yeah, and this is the problem now, is that the Pugna can't really solo kill onto the Necrophos. And the Necrophos just has so much farm. And Virtus.pro, I feel like I really like their core matchups. They're going to make the move.
Dive here, trying to quickly kill that Underlord, but intercepted by Solo with a great paralyzing cast. Reaper Sight to be able to stop that. Make sure the Pugna does indeed go down for the fourth time. Arrow coming out. Universe does manage to sidestep that. Virtus.pro moving forward with their Moonlight Shadow. Don't really have any additional catch, and if they're not careful, Nip may just turn around and try and kill no one, but TPing in from the Faceless Void. No Chronosphere just yet, but it does have the time dilation to be able to slow down Viper, catch him. Meanwhile, the Pit grabbing the Ember Spirit momentarily here, but he's going to be able to jump into the cliff area and TP out just fine.
Threw down the Ward 2 to try to see him at the last second, but no stuns or anything like that in time. But we're seeing again, like, the initiations are going to be in favor of VP. They can't really burst down no one. He's got full Greaves already and a wand. He's incredibly farmed. We talked about how they were going to lack damage. I still don't know where that really comes from. And it's not like their job gets easier once you get a pipe online, once your Void gets a BKB.
I mean, simply put, Ninjas in Pyjamas could not have this kind of early game.
No.
Right? They needed to get off to a heavy start. They're not even ahead in net worth. In fact, they're down by 2K. What would you give the chances for this game?
I think it's pretty rough right now.
Like
just
a
because
75-25?
I didn't see what the win probability was, but like 80-20 maybe? Maybe a little bit more than that?
Yeah. It's, total plus hits is 90-10.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that's altogether too inaccurate, because I still think that NIP could win, but I think Universe at this point probably has to carry them with his movement.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really have the kind of farm or the type of setup to be able to do so. It's never really NIP making any like smoke moves or anything like that. It's always just them sort of running into the area. And VP, whenever they have cooldowns, just straight up challenging them. And they don't really feel comfortable. You saw that Rezo just sits here. When they dove him with the Roar last time, they just had to instantly disengage because they see 3 TPs. If you want to make that kind of play, you have to also control the Shrine area. So when you see the TPs coming in, they can't really make that move. They're going to smoke up. They want to take this fight. This is the 3rd time now NIP's been up here.
Smoke's gonna break. No one's gonna lead the way here because he does have the Guardian Greaves. He's a very tanky target. He wants Ninjas the Pyjamas to try and turn and fight him. Failing that, if Nip just run backwards, that's fine. Because at the end of the day, as long as Nip isn't doing anything, as long as they're not accomplishing anything on the map, taking towers, winning team fights, then this game is moving forward and forward for Virtus.pro.
VP also have their own catch issues, aside from having Chronosphere up, but I'd say they still probably feel perfectly okay.
Yeah, not having catch isn't that big of a deal when you're just like kind of passively winning.
Yeah, and plus you have like the ultimate catch, right? You've got got Chronosphere.
Moonlight Shadow going down. Epileptic Kid trying Trying to set up on Viper with the rotation coming out from the Underlord, just really using the Chronosphere just to make sure they get that kill. It feels like overcommitment in a bit, but simultaneously, Nip haven't been able to win fights when Chronosphere's down, so...
Yeah, they currently have no moves to make right now. They've been sort of like bashing their heads in against this top lane, but it doesn't really feel like they're making too much headway. And again, Rezo's gonna TP up here, say, go on me. Like, I wanna get roared.
Yep.
He's got pipe 1500, 1700 HP, a stick. Like, this is not an easy to take down hero. He's gonna push that wave back out. They're gonna continue to go top. Maybe they have to make a play because Chronosphere is down, but I actually think that's what VP is trying to bait them into.
Yeah. That's why they kept on, like, Nip kept on making this play with Gunnar trying to, like, run back behind the tower. They need to be able to actually kill this Underlord, take the tier 2. They can't just let him continue to passively defend.
And no one's going to join up with him as Rezo just continues to beat them back. And they're using so much to try to enable this top push. They've got 4 heroes up here. All the while, their Faceless Void is freely farming at bottom because he knows it's very likely that the Beastmaster is up here too.
Even TP back to the shrine area, which they do have a Hawk to be able to see that. So maybe this is an opportunity for Ninjas to Pyjamas one way or another. They can go top, knowing the Void can't immediately get there. Or maybe they could try and gank the Void. Choose to go top, running immediately into Resolution, and that just kind of ruins things. Roar going out with no one in save, trying to challenge the Beastmaster. He does get out, but again, passive game goes the way of Virtus.pro. Nip just feels like every single one of their moves is being countered time and time again.
Yeah, they're just constantly getting stymied. I think Skeeter right now is trying his best to keep up in net worth, but he's probably really afraid every time Chrono's up and anybody's missing off the map, they could just be invis trying to set up on him. And they've time and time again demonstrated that they are willing to throw out that Chrono even for solo kills.
Yeah, they'll do it on a Rubik. They'll certainly do it on an Ember Spirit. BKB next for our Faceless Void, because why not? Like, it's just the ultimate team fight winning item. Just secure the fact you will not get run over in the mid game.
Yeah, look how far Rezo feels like he's able to play. Pushing this lane in. Doesn't even have vision, really, in this top area. They might get solo here. This would be
something small to work with.
It's a pick-off at this point.
Yeah.
And Solo is being really cocky. There was nobody near him.
Yeah.
I don't even think he had vision on that left side. I think he just decided to make that play.
It's saying, like, very confidently, I think my team can contest 4 versus 5 to defend the tier 2 or defend Roshan or whatever Nip trying to do.
It's also saying you don't really care if you die.
Yeah.
Rezo's gonna get gone on the roar. They'll still have the pipe up.
TPing in, maybe with Nip already having this early lead on the Underlord, but the heal's gonna come out, the Dark Rift away, and they just do not have enough burst damage at this rate. The Fateful, it's still not enough, especially with that Shrine activated. They'll cancel their TPs. Nip do manage to force Virtus.pro back to their base, but it does not give them a lot of time to hit the tier 2. Underlord, he's already back with the TP scroll. See Peter trying to build up some magic resistance creeps off those Hellbears, but now he's gonna get caught trying to solo push. This just seems like frustration at this point. He's just kind of all in to try and finish off that tier 2 that they've been stuck on for the last 8 minutes.
They will finally get it. And it looks like they're just going into mode split push, which is normally what you do when, you know, you don't think you can win a 5-on-5 fight.
Yeah.
Which I agree with their logic right now. So we're gonna see Rezo get gone on again. They did get him a lot lower than I expected.
Yeah, the immediate burst was quite formidable, but then no one shows up. He's able to get off Dark Rift.
Oh, he didn't even bother popping his wand.
20 wand charges, yeah.
Interesting. So he effectively had like another like 300 HP, no problem.
It was as not close as you originally expected.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't pop his wand because he knew he was gonna live.
Yeah. I mean, like, do you have another plan for Nip at this point? Like, you see them just keep on, like, crashing into that tier 2 at top and stuff, but what else can they do?
Looks like right now their plan is just to farm and hope that they outscale. I mean, they're not doing terribly bad. The way that we're talking about them, for the casual observer, it's like 8-3, 2,000 gold. You think like, well, things are going perfectly fine. I'd say VP are playing a little bit more passively than I'd like. Maybe it's
Thinking about the Chronosphere, but the Decrepify's already gone off. Epileptic Kid is going to go back in. Now the Decrepify's gone, Life Drain's done for. He can slowly beat down this Pugna with a small help and from Solo and his Death Ward. They'll even be able to kill those magic-resistant Centaurs.
that one dragon helping out so much.
Yep. And VP, well, apparently they heard you, Blitz. They're actually going to be on the offensive now. Trying to take some towers, go for that mid-tier 2 after the pick off on Gunner. They have a little bit of time to work with after all.
Yeah, the scary part is if you're too passive and you decide to take like one bad fight in front of your base, Beastmaster lineups will take down towers really quickly.
Oh yeah, Beastmaster with Chen and a Pugna. That is a lot of tower.
Look at this, Universe, he's gonna get caught out.
Dual Scepter on save, able to stop Universe, cancel his TP. They're gonna TP in with no one now, so they're gonna finish him off with the Reaper's Sight.
Could even Roche with that. 70 seconds dead on the Beastmaster. Maybe they'd be concerned because they have no ultis and they don't want to be in a position where they fight into a Beastmaster with buyback.
They're also close to some pretty key items. They almost have the Radiance on the Necrophos second item. I think that's pretty massive. Looks like Crimson Guard is going to be next for Resolution. He's just about to complete the Vanguard whenever he gets to the secret shop. Making this lineup significantly tankier. What's the next like big window for Nip, since they are just kind of like sitting back and going, okay, like we've had it, we can't actually take over this game in the first 20. We have to fall back on plan B. What's the next item timings? Is there something specific that's going to make them really strong?
Maybe the BKB on the Ember Spirit.
Okay.
I could see that making a decent amount of difference right now.
Well, nothing big is coming out from Gunner. He's actually going for a Glimmer Cape.
That's pretty standard.
Has it in his stash.
That's pretty standard.
Certainly.
You're moving really quickly. You want a way to engage and disengage. Solves a lot of Pugna's problems from the burst magic damage that you take to when you're decrepit up. But it doesn't really solve your problem of getting chronoed every fight.
Yeah. Certainly not going to be a game-changing item.
Takes a lot of damage off the Necrophos too when he loads up that Reaper Scythe.
True.
Depending on, hopefully he's not using it on you in that situation then.
Gets the ward on the high ground. Maybe this is an opportunity for Ninjas of Pyjamas now that VP is a little bit outside of their base. Now that they are the aggressors, could be an advantage here in positioning for Ninjas of Pyjamas as they smoked up with 3. They're going to take over this high ground area. No one is getting close to it. The smoke is going to break here, and they're going to start their initiation onto no one, while simultaneously trying to slow down this Void. Void is ready to go with the Primal Roar. They actually do manage to blow off that Necrophos. Resolution's going to be up next. He tries to get off the TP away, but that's not going to happen. No Dark Rift for you. And now Virtus.pro going to have to use their Chronosphere defensively. A big win for Ninjas of Pyjamas, killing 2 cores and forcing out the Chrono.
So the BKB.
BKB. And maybe a little bit of hubris from Virtus.pro as well. It seemed like they thought they were just, they can't burst this down.
They were so cocky there.
They were mega cocky, like no one positioning himself right next to the high ground of all places. The rest of his team is on the right-hand side.
I mean, things would be perfectly fine for them, but they decided to make that move. They thought, no way in hell NIP ever decides to fight us, but NIP, they pick up the BKB on Skeeter. They're like, we've had enough.
Hey, well, I don't mind it. We've got a little bit of a game on our hands now with Ninjas of Pyjamas being able to pick up that Aegis for Skeeter. We'll see that fight again.
You can see how far forward no one is.
They're showing all 3 cores on the tower. No one positions himself close to the high ground area. Kind of a late Dark Rift.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of issues there.
They were simply thinking there's no way we can lose a fight. They haven't taken a fight. They thought that they would just give up the tower for free. NIP correctly made the decision to defend it.
And this is, I'm not sure about this one. Virtus.pro, they're going to try and defend their tier 2, but immediately Resolution is jumped on, and from a distance, they're going to be able to drain him down. The BKB from Skeeter, once again, coming into play. Locking down Epileptic Kid. They need a bit more burst damage, though, to go on that carry Void, so they'll just take the tier 2, start backing it up a little bit.
And now they've taken a 2K gold lead. It's Rezo's turn this time to play really far forward. risk his life.
Like they didn't have Chronosphere for 70 seconds, Blitz. They just lost a fight when they had Chronosphere.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It feels like they are very tanky, but as a group and together is where their strength is. And being able to play behind the Chronosphere. If the Faceless Void isn't in a position to actually get the jump off, you don't really have that much protection. Because what you want in an ideal world is no one gets jumped on, he turns around with Greaves, you get pipe off, then that sets up for a really nasty Chronosphere.
Yep.
But if Epileptic Kid isn't in a good position, then you can't really make those plays, and Rezo can't really sit forward like that as if he's this unkillable boss when there's no way for them to initiate a fight. It has to be around the Chronosphere.
Yeah.
Like their team just has to calm down. Their lineup is still very strong, but they're just kind of throwing away these opportunities, and Beastmaster and Chen, they allow you to push so fast and punish so quickly.
There we go. Everybody. Mjolnir now up for the Faceless Void. That actually is a lot of damage between an Ember Spirit and a Pugna, who have like these multiple damage instances between Life Drain and the Flame Guard. That active from the Mjolnir static charge. Really impactful in a team fight. Smoke up. What a beautiful rotation from Nip. If they can actually find him, they're just shy of being able to catch no one here. And if they caught him away from his team, it would have been perfect. But now he's a little bit close to them. They're going to run into each other immediately. The Guardian Greaves taking off that stun. And an arrow, beautifully placed, is going to be able to lock down Skeeter. But he does have an Aegis, so they don't want to overcommit for this kill. They're just going to try and finish him off the old-fashioned way. Right-clicking him slowly but surely, but he does manage to jump himself away. Resetting a little bit. Epileptic Kid still looking for his Chronosphere, though. Skeeter's going to reset with a TP and come back into this fight. Maybe around the shrine, which is where Virtus.pro is moving towards. Skeeter immediately jumps in as they do manage to burst down that Witch Doctor almost immediately. Another arrow lands onto that Ember Spirit, but Virtus.pro, they're making their way out of here. It's now the team being able to finish up. Skeeter almost going down.
They got the roar on the Void. He might just go down.
He's going to fall here with the BKB activated. Barely managed to get it off. Turn around. Time walks off. A little bit of damage. Looking for the Chronosphere still, but he doesn't feel good about it. Skeeter still has that Aegis. Skeeter's just playing on the front lines, forcing action out of Virtus.pro. A time walk away just barely gets Epileptic Kid out of that damage areas. But Skeeter does end up
got Chronosphere here.
Now he's going to go for the Chronosphere. On top of them, but he got to lift. Oh no! Byver with the perfect positioning. Burst down the Faceless Void. No one. He's going to be in trouble. The Dark Rift coming up from Resolution. They do have the heals of Guardian Greaves. They should be able to get out together. To the fountain they go.
And the tip. I mean, I really feel like just throw down the Chrono there.
Yeah.
As he's respawning in, he decided to walk all the way to the edge of the cliff.
You don't need to min-max.
No, you can just hit it to the high ground. You're going to live. Your entire team's going to live. You're going to kill Skeeter. And everything's fine. But instead, he was so loath to use it at all. So no one's going to get quite low. Gets himself off of that.
Virtus.pro offering multiple breaths of fresh air here to this Ninjas in Pyjamas team that is now able to assault the high ground at 30 minutes. This is the timing that they were looking for 15 minutes ago, the timing that they kept on getting stymied. They will get Resolution here. Up into the high ground, telekinesis backwards, he's just dead.
Again, they don't have the Chrono.
There is no shortage of damage when you have a Pugna.
I actually can't believe that VP are putting themselves in this position, and I mean, credit to NIP. Like, they're doing everything right, but they're being given so many opportunities.
Yeah. I mean,
just time and time again, you can see VP send one hero at a time. They're trying to min-max a little bit too much.
Go back to that last team fight where Ninjas in Pyjamas were so split. But the Primal Roar, man, they managed to burst him down. It would have been great there, but still, Epileptic Kid, as we're going to see here eventually.
It's when he decides to walk to the very edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
The fight at this point is still okay. Skeeter dies here. Set up for the Chrono for your range.
3%.
Yeah. You don't have to time walk into that corner area. He can just even make one towards the edge a little bit, just to make sure. There's no way for them to really save. They've got so much magic damage onto that Ember Spirit. If he gets Glimmer Caped and Decrepified, I feel like you still nuke him twice, you drop the Necrophos ulti, and he goes down. And that fight looks completely different.
Well, they do have the Radiance for no one, and he's about to complete a Lotus Orb pretty soon here. Another way to be able to remove those chains, possibly block some of the life drain damage or turn back a Primal Roar.
Yeah, an Epileptic Kid. It looks like he's so hesitant to use the Chrono at all. Like that engagement in mid, the one at the edge of the cliff. it feels like he's getting a little bit too gun-shy now.
It's not the first time he's been in this situation. We casted that game in the group stage where they were matched up against that Morphling Earthshaker combo, and he was playing Faceless Void, and he just, at some point in time in the game, he just looked a little lost. And you cannot afford, you know, your young carry player.
You need to calm down right now.
Yeah.
Reset yourself. The game is still winnable. The problem is it probably doesn't feel that way. Right now for VP, they've lost so many fights in a row, but they have to recognize why they're losing these fights. They're not sticking to what makes their lineup good. They're not playing behind their chrono. Solo heroes are just walking in, trying to tank all that damage. It's not 15 minutes ago where that was possible. Your strength is in numbers and the threat of the chronosphere.
And this is where your experienced voices come in and calm everybody down and say, hey, guys, relax. You know, we've lost a lot of bad fights that we probably shouldn't have, but here's the problem that's happening. Here's how to fix it. Let's move forward. Because after all, the Dota Plus is still saying that VP have an advantage after Rax was taken.
I mean, that's wild.
It's just barely up to like 51% now.
And the crazy part is, if we completely disregard like the momentum, and if you had just dropped us into this game, I would have said, oh, well, VP still have a very good shot to win, but you can't really account for how much this Void is feeling that pressure right now.
Yeah, the tilt. This is very much going to be a mental game moving forward for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, because their lineup is still very good. They still have ways to win. They have the best overall teamfight spell in the game.
They just got the level 20 talent, which is massive.
It really just comes down to set up opportunities for yourself. The way that fight should look is Underlord gets gone on, your Necrophos is behind him, and then because NIP have to rush in, they'll lose their positioning, and this is where your Faceless Void will have time to play.
Oh, this is probably, I imagine this is good for Ninjas of Pyjamas. It's going to be a very fast Roshan. It was just 35 seconds after the potential respawn point. And Nip, who probably want to keep the pressure.
Yeah, they want to keep the pace of the game going. You don't want VP to have time to think about the game.
Yeah.
You want them to continue to get sloppy, take these weird fights. I'd like to even see them smoke towards this Roshan area.
Just try and take one of those fights just, you know, around the Roshan pit.
What's going to happen instead? They're going to hold the high ground on the side of NIP. They spotted the invis with the Hawk. This is something I guess they just weren't thinking about. But instead, I think they realized what's happened. Going to reset into a little bit of farm. Save is going to get a D-ward off, which should alert both teams about the situation around Roshan pit. Deny on the DD by no one.
Save, just throwing out some arrows, and he can keep doing that time and time again just to make sure he has vision inside of the pit.
And NIP, they're setting up for it.
Snip it, and that's why.
Be together on the side of VP.
They're going to play. They're going to go for resolution. Does manage to get the telekinesis. Primal Roar comboed up. No one trying to save him out with a Lotus Orb, but there's going to be your Chronosphere. Locking down the three of them. Resolution's going to survive. He's going to join, beating down this Ember Spirit. He tries to get out the pit, but doesn't actually control the Ember Spirit in time. Instead, they'll be able to kill Gunner's Pugna as Virtus.pro now go for the fast retreat of the Dark Grit. Four of them inside of that. Yeah. They're going to buy back and immediately go for the Roshan, and Virtus.pro, with using the Chronosphere, may not be able to contest it. We'll see mass teleportation coming in.
And this is an unfortunate thing because you feel like you have to take the fight.
Arrow?
But I don't know how you're going to be able to win it as Skeeter. Going to go in first, the root.
Oh, he's got to be careful of that Pit of Malice. Skeeter. They are going to be able to do a lot of damage to no one with this life drain.
The arrow connects temporarily, but PPD just going to try to get the D-ward off. They don't have Roar themselves.
Prep
They have the ability to poke.
Decent amount of poke damage on the Epi Kid, but he's able to just time block it off.
Both teams just posturing for this Roche. But the cooldowns will come up sooner on NIP.
That's why. They're just going to go maybe poke and Roshan here.
Yeah.
Keep tanking the arrow for Peter. Resolution is going to be the one showing himself. This time around, they do get the Lotus Orb off before a lot of these spells are used. A Force Staff away, but Life Drain, it's going to suck him dry. Resolution falls. He does have a buyback, though. And Virtus.pro are heavily invested here in being able to defend this. They do manage to get a lucky bash. Into the arrow. They're going to be able to get a lot of control here. Defensive Force Staff and the Sleight of Fist. Skeeter is able to get away into the river, and BKB was used by Epileptic Kid. He's trying to deal with his Pugna ward that is just harassing no one in solo constantly in that back line. Oh, Dagged Blast, that's not going to be quite enough. Solo will survive thanks in part to no one's heals. Virtus.pro maintain control of the Roshan pit.
NIP really want this. They expended the buyback on a Gunner.
This is very rapidly turning into a fight, not just for Aegis and Cheese, but potentially for a lane of barracks with these buybacks being expended on both sides.
Yeah, but NIP, they don't want to just blind walk into it. Gonna wait. They really need the BKB up on the Ember Spirit if they want to take these fights. VP sort of in a similar situation, but as soon as Void shows himself bottom, I think they're gonna go back into the pit.
And that's why Void, as soon as he shows himself a little bit too long, is gonna TP in. He's got his Chronosphere ready to go.
And I think what NIP wants in this situation is actually to bait them into a fight. It's not easy for them to just hit this Roche with their Ember Spirit Pugna cores.
It's so hard for them to just take Roshans by
What
themselves.
they want is VP to overcommit and get a little bit too anxious, come down. They really want them to come down the stairs.
Yeah. And simultaneously, Virtus.pro have also been trying to kind of bait fights with the resolution on the front lines. Don't think he can do that anymore, though. He's been punished for that one too many times, and this time around with no buyback.
In that previous Chrono 2, not to just like dogpile on him, but it was that hesitation where he decided to go for the Ember Spirit and then he switched targets into the Pugna.
Yeah.
I feel like you just get rid of the Ember Spirit. He's the real threat right now in these team fights. You see how much damage that Skeeter puts out. Just get rid of him. You have enough physical damage. It's not like this Ember is all-encompassing and tanky, but if you give him that little bit of wiggle room, he will get out of those sticky situations as both teams still posturing around Roche, but it looks like NIP are going to give up on that pursuit.
At this point, they may just have to wait and reset a little bit. See if they can get a pick off on Virtus.pro to finally break them entirely and go for the Roshan. But VP are not going to split up here. They're going to stay together despite the split push pressure that is coming out from a Beastmaster and Ember Spirit. They're going to go with the Moonlight Shadow, work their way through behind this mid lane. They know, they saw the Ember Spirit, that little bit of animation where he goes, returns to his remnant.
They're going to scan.
You know he's over here somewhere, but they don't want to go into that Radiant Triangle high ground area. That's just a bit too far.
I like Gunner's move right now. He's going to push out this top lane. He wants to force pressure so that VP reset their position. This is really scary for NIP right now, right? Because they have no vision. They're not really sure what they're doing. So what he wants to do is blast out this next wave. This will force somebody from the side of VP up. And it sort of just resets the map. It allows NIP to walk the map once again.
Gunner has a Dagon 3 with a Veil of Discord, the Decrepify. That's so much magic amplification to the heavy amount of burst. They got to be careful. Any sort of disables they get on the Faceless Void, they could still burst them down despite a BKB and a Linken's on it.
What's sort of hurting NIP right now is their inability to Roche very quickly.
Yeah.
Because now no one can take his time, go all the way top, push that lane out, and still make it in time for whatever Roche fight might happen.
Epikid just using his static charge to push in the creep wave while he farms up neutrals. Getting closer and closer to that nullifier that will really help him out against the Decrepify of the Pugna, which is going to be one of the better counters against a good Chronosphere. If Pugna's not inside, just Decrepifying whatever target this Void wants to go for. It's going to be your best option. Ninja's Pyjamas, they see this as an opportunity strike. Necros is showing himself into the haste rune. They immediately manage to grab Epikid rising with here. The haste rune, the force staff away is not going to be good enough. What a massive kill there. And is he going to buy back to defend this Roshan? He does have the Chronosphere.
I'm so surprised. Going down into that area without the rest of your team behind you, bounty rune, the 40-minute bounty runes especially are not free.
Yeah.
You know that NIP are playing around that area. The two lanes are pushed in. They still want to be around Roche.
That rune anyway.
Yeah, the risk-reward ratio is like completely off there.
Yeah. Moonlight Shadow. They're coming out. If they get the right kind of initiation, they can bring this Void in.
Yeah, Void still has the Chronosphere, but
if Ninjas and Pyjamas, what they need to do, they have to wait until NIP have like gotten Roshan low enough that they have to commit to Roshan and not just back up.
exactly.
But it's a little bit hard to maintain vision inside of the pit. They're actually going to start this fight with a telekinesis. There's going to be your buyback coming out from the Void, and that's why Ninjas Pyjamas immediately retreat. They didn't bring Roshan low enough that VP can just take it for themselves quickly.
There's no there's no Roar though. They do have Chronosphere, so they should feel a little bit stronger.
Back up, actually. Universe, it's such a short cooldown. He's actually ready to go. NIP, they just need to be patient. They're bleeding VP out of their buybacks.
Yes. You just wait. reset the game once again, hope that somebody from VP makes the same play, gets a little bit too anxious around that Roshan hit, because NIP don't really want to take this Rosh.
Yeah.
This is going to be a bait every single time.
They're going to be able to find the captain solo, quickly take him out of the equation.
So now you move
Smoke
into the
up for
pit.
that.
Just be a little bit patient, see what VP are willing to commit.
See if they can force another buyback out of Virtus.pro. The 5 position, though, just not that big of a deal, so maybe Nip are a little timid.
Yeah, they really want them to come down.
After all, you still have the better control of the river, right, with such good initiation. You can keep on playing off these power runes. This time around, it's a double damage been activated for Skeeter and an arcane rune in the bottom.
They're going to wait solo out.
How long have we been standing around this Roshan pit now? It feels like a solid 5 or 6 minutes now, and this is just going to be the game-defining fight.
Yes. You can see NIP, I mean, their strategy, somehow it's working, even though I feel like it should be very transparent to VP. It's like, we can't Rosh, but you know what? If you just keep walking into this pit area, we'll kill you over and over again. And I feel like they've just gotten like 3 free pickoffs in a row in that area.
Yeah.
And they just hold their own high ground, and then VP's like, I guess we have to rush down, see what happens.
A combination of this control of the Roshan pit mixed in with the split pushing they're able to do with, you know, Chen, Ember Spirit, Beastmaster. They have too many good options there.
Yeah, and VP is so afraid. Whereas NIP, I mean, they can always just throw out Hawks. They always know what the situation of Rosh is.
Yeah.
Whereas I think VP is always afraid. They don't know if they've smoked into there, if they're getting a little bit too cocky by being fanned out.
Fresh items here. BKB actually for no one. That's how problematic this Pugna counterpick has been. You don't see BKB Necrophos too often except for this kind of matchup and maybe like a Leshrac or something.
Yeah, I remember I watched some casts that I think Mad did, where he was saying maybe on his Twitch channel or something that like getting BKB on Necro is like the ultimate bait.
Yeah. I mean, not being able to use your Ghost Shroud just...
It's so rough.
It feels pretty bad. But, you know, in this sort of lineup, right, there's just not going to be that much right-clicking being done anyway. I like the gem pickup. I'm not sure when Save grabbed that, but really important to start taking away this Hawk Vision whenever they can, because it is the biggest advantage that Nip have, and why they've been able to get these pick-off after pick-off. Virtus.pro, are they going to go for a smoke here? Solo takes it off the courier, but not going to use it just yet. They have side lanes to deal with right now. Both top and bottom lane are being heavily pushed in. Resolution will deal with a wave that's farthest away from the Roshan pit, because he can always, he's got a TP scroll as well as that Dark Rift.
BKB trying to go for a Hex. Feels like they need a non-Chronosphere solution to starting fights.
That'll lead into some pretty good disable on that Ember Spirit. Get the right Pit of Malice on him, break his link inside. Then the pit grabs him again.
Never refuse gold given.
We are getting very close to some 25s at this rate. Void's about to be 24. Necrophos is already 24. Ember Spirit already has his level 25 with the Remnant Charge restore time. So an Aghanim Scepter would be super nice for him at some point. He's going to be pulled back into the Chen as they are all top lane right now. But Virtus.pro, they know Gunner's here. They just saw that blast. This is a great position for them to be able to get a crucial pick off. But Gunner has already backed himself away. Virtus.pro missed their opportunity. In fact, even showing themselves. Resolution TPing back over the shrine is going to be able to grab Peter. With Gunner pushed away, now they want to try and force the fight up to top.
And they're just going to walk back towards mid. Gunner.
He's still going to get caught. Yule Scepter, thanks to that gem, he will be able to see Gunner through that Glimmer Cape. They're just going to be able to chain stun him from here. Reaper Scythe is going to actually finish off Gunner because of all those heals, but eventually they will get that kill. A buyback is available for him, but he's dead for 2 minutes. So pretty much no doubt that VP is going to be able to force that out of him. They have to deal with their side lanes first, though.
I don't actually know how much they can take advantage of this.
You think they're just not capable of doing Roshan?
If you get into the wrong type of Roche fight, it's so rough for your team.
Yeah.
Maybe not with the DD.
That's true. DD does change things quite a bit.
Yeah, with the DD, I think you push out bottom and maybe you go for it.
Yeah. After all, there's like no real rush, right? Like normally you see a hero take, you're like, oh guys, we gotta force things that way we can get this buyback out of him.
Oh,
But
80
when he
seconds.
said for 2 minutes, you could spend a solid minute pushing out your side lanes, getting all that looking good, and then force him with the buyback in, you know, like those last 30 or 40 seconds. And looks like they're gonna be doing exactly what you suggested. Double damage in the bottle. Scam activated. A stolen Firestorm. That's actually going to make things really difficult.
They want VP to feel like they're all in committed for this Roche.
Yeah, and I think even just the Firestorm by itself is enough to force VP back.
I like this decision a lot though from Void, saving that DD rune.
Yeah. Oh,
He wants it for the fight more than the Roche.
Yeah. They don't want to have to deal with this longer, drawn-out fight. They want to be able to get inside of the Nip base right now. With this smoke into the Moonlight Shadow, they need a Yule Scepter. They need to be able to find one of these heroes. They run into the Ember Spirit, but he has the Lincoln, so they're not going to be able to kill him.
They know that PPD's up here.
Maybe they get PPD. He's going to try and TP out, but the arrow nails him perfectly. Still, though, it's a 5 position. They really wanted a big core pick.
They bought enough time for Gunnar.
Yep, he did not have to blow his buyback. Maybe Peter may have to do that, but I just doubt VP's going to be able to actually go for Roche at this point. Still, it is like the game just being drawn out. Solo just running down river like that.
Maybe they could have still Roche. They sent the Underlord to deal with that.
Yeah, they still have that double damage.
They're playing as though pretty much everybody on their team has taken a shot at just going by themselves down that river.
Yeah, how many times are we gonna die right outside the Roshan pit? Like, guys, we've been talking about Roshan for like the last 10 minutes. Both teams are gonna play around this area nonstop.
Yeah, it really feels like, aside from VP going down there, I haven't really seen the map move too much.
They're going to be able to take away some vision. Oh, Epileptic Kid thought he had an opportunity. He's still going to go for the Chronosphere onto Gunnar with a long-range arrow coming in. Gunnar will fall. Primal Roar going out. Okay, Force Step. Alive. Still going to get him out. There's an activatable shrine. Gunner's going to be okay. In fact, he's going to turn around and kill Epic again. Oh, he's dead for 2 minutes.
Oh, my.
He has no buyback because of gold. 50 seconds resolution. He's going to use his BKB and turn and fight Viper here. And I'm sure Nip are thinking, what's going on here?
And I love that they didn't give up on Gunnar. He's like, pop the Lincolns.
Oh, telekinesis mid-leap too. What a grab from Viper. Once again, he gets the clutch telekinesis that may just break open the game for them. They're going to buy back immediately on save. He needs 15 gold on the Faceless Void. Nip are kind of playing like he does have it. And that VP are just going to be really reluctant to force it. They're only going to use it once Nip are actually inside the pit. So eventually this Void will get it. Level 25 now for the Necrophos, that 0.8 Heartstopper Aura Edition. So a lot more damage over time for them.
Both teams just posturing around. And we've played the same side of the map for so long.
Okay, another telekinesis, another pullback. They're gonna jump out no one. Immediately trying to commit to him, but he's got a hard guarding reach and a Lotus Orb and a BKB. He is tanky, little bird. Ember Spear going back in as the BKB is about to wear out. Lincolns will protect him for the paralyzing cast. Death Ward being used there. There's something small, but this is a big pickup, and they can actually get Gunnar here. Another Yules into another defensive Force Staff, giving away from the arrow time in the Primal Roar onto Nolan. Once again, they're trying to get this kill. 30 seconds left. They're actually going to go for the Dark Ring play, trying to get everybody out of here. It looks like they may all survive. They all get out, and the Faceless Void's buyback will hold for a little longer. 20 seconds left. Can Ninjas and Pyjamas finish off a Roshan in this small little window? It doesn't look like it. VP is already back TPing onto their shrine and getting some control over that Roshan pit once again.
Yeah, and time after time, they can't really do Roche themselves. The best they can do is bait VP into these positions. And if I'm VP, at some point you have to say, like, guys, just be together. Please, we don't have to make these solo plays. This is the only way that we're losing this game. It's happened like 8 times now.
You know what I love about Dota for like the last year now?
Did I do that?
This can't keep happening. Somebody's got to make it stop.
I've never seen two teams fight around the Roche pit for so long without either of them being able to take it.
I mean, Solo's the captain. He's supposed to be the reasonable voice saying exactly what you're saying, Blitz, but he's the one gets caught out trying to push that mid lane. Fortunately, it's not a hero that, because he's dead, Nip are going to feel super confident about going for that Roshan. But what I love about Dota right now is that these level 25s, the game goes late, and all bets are off right now.
All right, so they know that the Void is just farming.
Yep.
Trying to set up for this. Looks like he's going to...
have to find a way to be able to break through his Lincolns, and they do. Get the instant telekinesis on top of that. The Primal Roar, Epileptic Kid, he's down. Now they're going to be able to grab more. It's going to be the Mirana up next. Change up there. Nino's going to buy back to the Void. This is where Nip may have overextended themselves. They need to be able to get a sick Chronosphere out of this one. Epileptic Kid going to try and chase down Gunnar right now. Gunnar leading them away. In fact, going deeper into VP's side of the map and TPing out underneath the trees. VP
going to get out for free?
He got nothing out of that.
At this point, I'm not really sure what VP's play has got to be, because if you commit too hard to the Roshan pit, you know that everyone's got buyback on the side of NIP, and all it takes is one bad fight, and NIP will say, we don't even need Rosh, we'll just go down mid.
I think they may just have to play for high ground. If Nip make out like a serious commitment, they just 5-man into the pit right now, I'm not sure if they can take that kind of fight. I mean, you've only got one Chronosphere, and they've got 2 lives on everybody. We'll have to see what VP does here.
And I was just abusing the tempo of the game. Like, both sides were just showing, like, you push the lane at us, we push the lane into you. They make that smoke rotation around. Void doesn't expect it because he just thinks that they'll be back mid. But at some point, somebody was going to make that long wrap and just chance it.
An update on some of these level 25s. We've got the Nether Blast damage from the Pugna. We do have the Beastmaster who went for the hot cooldown. You can see how all important the vision is in this game. Backtrack on the Void. Not going to be able to defend their shrine, which has been so key for helping them get to this Roshan pit quickly. After a Dark Rift retreat, that's now gone. Another opportunity for Nip to finally, maybe claim the Aegis and Cheese for themselves. A double damage, that's just one more opportunity. We've got the Aghanim Scepter on the Ember Spirits. He still has his Maelstrom in his backpack, so he could probably go for a consumable and get another item on top of all this. And after all that, all those buybacks and deaths, finally, Dota Plus is saying, yeah, Nip actually have the higher win percentage. They haven't had that the entire game until just about 2 or 3 minutes ago.
Once they forced the buybacks, I'd assume.
Yep.
That's the first time they took over 50%.
Solar Crest coming in soon for save. Just these little helping items for the Faceless Void. And we almost have level 25 on the Underlord as well, which I'm presuming he's going to go for that extra Pit of Malice root duration.
Never refuse.
Yeah, they really lack lockdown right now. I mean, once they can get inside the base, they win a team fight. They will take towers very quickly, and this time it's going to be save. He used the Solar Crest, and that's going to alert them. They saw it with the ward as a result. They had no idea otherwise.
These little plays, man, that can really screw up your smoke, or in this case, Moonlight Shadow King. I do appreciate the fact that VP is trying to play aggressively despite not having buybacks, because it is the most likely way for them to catch Nip out.
Yes. Because so far it's just been somebody gets picked off.
Oh, there it is. He's going to jump in, go for the Chronosphere. That's going to be able to lock down Gunnar. And the arrow to be able to follow up. And the Aeon Disc, now the Reaper side coming in. That does knock down Gunnar finally, but he does have a buyback. Meanwhile, the bottom lane is pushing out. VP trying to retreat right now. They do have the Dark Rift. They can use it now to try and save out no one. Is the rest of the team going to be able to get inside the pit? At the same time, they tried to go for Force Staff to see if they can get the Necrophos outside of that range. Somebody's going to get caught by this Ember Spirit, though. That is Skeeter with a double damage. No matter how many leap charges you have, it's not going to be enough to get away from this Ember. So one hero with no buyback down for 70 seconds. That is enough. Ninjas and Pyjamas to go for the pit. After all, there's no Chronosphere for 95 seconds. And VP, it's looking like they're just going to give this one up. But no one daring to push in this mid lane. It's going to draw some attention. Outside of the Roshan pit, a really good pit of malice comes out from Resolution.
You want to chase this?
The Ember Spirit can certainly chase this. After all, he still has that Arcane Rune. He has so many remnants to be able to throw down, but at the same time, no one's so tanky. He's got 4,000 HP. He's regenning up non-stop. He's got this Lotus Orb, but BKB's up in 5 more seconds. They can't kill him. No one's positioned, just actually killed their Roshan attempt, baby. We're going to see BKB activated by Resolution. Does manage to get that pit of malice immediately removed, find the Lotus Orb. Peter's trying to get out of here. They're focusing on a 5 position right now. They can't even kill him. They're going to be able to chain up Resolution, trying to just keep him from retreating.
No one's pushing forward. He's got the DD Root. Root again. They're pinging that area. They do have the roar up. And only 10 seconds left for the Mirana to respawn.
Chronosphere up in 35 seconds. He's trying to get an Aghanim Scepter because he knows that this cooldown is just way too long, way too abusable this late into the game when buybacks are a thing. And I'm surprised to say this, but it looks like he's going to have his chrono up before Nip can actually get Roshan.
Again, they can't Rosh.
They can't Rosh.
It's so hard for them to Rosh.
It's 57 minutes in. This is how incapable this lineup is of taking Roshan. Most Temple lineups have a Rosh-taking mechanism. I guess they have Beastmaster, but that's really it. Universe gonna opt for a refresher on his Beastmaster.
VP.
Double Primal Roar actions. Oh, they managed to get on top of Skeeter. Got him with their Chronosphere with the Reaper's Sight. He is dead for 135 seconds. Could this VP have forced down a buyback out of Ninjas in Pyjamas?
He did not learn the lesson.
He did not.
That rune is not worth it. Not when your team isn't there, ready to back you up. Everybody's missing on the map. That's twice now that we've seen the carries from either side die because of that.
Well, a good steal by Piper. Once again, getting the Firestorm.
Yeah, that'll deter the Rosh for sure.
Yeah.
And they're pinging the area, which I think is more important to hold than just walking in the Rosh pit again.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
We're soon, I'm pretty sure Piper's gonna go for the Telekinesis cooldown. That is a massive upgrade to your control.
I don't know if they'll know about this move, by the way.
Smoke up?
Yeah, because the Ember hasn't bought back or anything like that, so...
Smoke's gonna break. They're gonna throw the Firestorm inside the pit. See if they can get some ideas here. Resolution's gonna take a lot of damage on his way out here. Gets a little bit low. He's instantly gonna pop his BKB as soon as they use the Decrepify Gunner. Well, they're gonna use the Chronosphere to make sure he dies here with the Reaper Sight coming in. It's not quite enough damage. All these heals. How does he survive through all this? He's Decrepify going up. Finally, he does burn down. He doesn't have a buyback, but the Ember Spirit into the back line. Trying to finish off Solo. Does manage to get him. Saves up next, but his BKB is worn out. He has to be careful of that Pit of Malice. His Linkage is broken. Arrow coming in. Dodge with a Sleight of Fist. Does manage to get away. Skeeter barely survives, dodging a bullet there. And Dark Rift going out. VP, go for the reset. Everybody group up, guys. 4 versus 4.
And they're out.
Control over the Roshan pit continues.
They have to lay everything into Gunner, but they weren't able to get any of their spells off.
Are scanning.
Universe just went down so quickly.
Refresher for Resolution. Overlapping Pit of Malices. That actually sounds very dangerous.
More than that, the double Hex.
Double Hex.
Double BKB.
Potentially Dark Rift out of this fight again if they want to. Something Nip may not expect. They're going to start things off. Firestorm going out. Regen, nothing massive. Bottom lane.
Still a gold issue for this Void. That's why they don't want to commit this.
Yeah. He does have buyback now off of time, but as you said, a gold issue, 770 gold away from buyback. The Hawk keeps on running in, keeps on getting vision of the fact that Nip do not need to be around this Roshan pit right now. It's not that low.
I can't believe it. Like, of all the spells to steal, just to delay this game, the Hawk finally goes down. The arrow.
And the arrow. Ooh, that was a little close. He's got to make sure no Chronosphere. That's it. Fiverr, they're tired of all the shenanigans with this Firestorm. They're going to make sure he falls, but he does have buyback. And now there's no Chronosphere. Nip, can they take the fight without Chronosphere? They're just not going to go for it at all.
Especially not with Gunner out of the picture still.
Yeah.
They let him do it like 8 times.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Pyro was starting to feel really cocky.
Maybe just got a bit complacent. And finally, Roshan's dead. 61 minutes in. It's been 20 minutes of non-stop Rosh posturing, but he is dead.
The second Rosh of the game is
Long live Roshan. Aegis and Cheese is out. We got Aegis on Epileptic Kid and Cheese for no one. Now that they're all 6 slotted, don't have...
one of the latest second Roshans I've ever seen.
Yeah. The refresher in Universe's backpack. He's going to go for the kill on Resolution. Triple Remnant in. Already down to half health. The dagger helps, and that's it. Resolution. What is he going to do here? Because these 2 cores are still pushing in the mid lane.
Looks like they're going to put him in a position where looks like they wanted him to buy back, but maybe they're just recognizing Rubik. It's about to respawn. There's no real reason to try to all in there. Just get your own buybacks up. Now it's NIP that's in a position where they don't have 3 core buybacks. I mean, 3 core buybacks is so big. They're not going to want to play aggressively anymore.
Yeah. Epileptic Kid, he almost has enough to be able to buy the Aghanim's Blessing. And then he can pick up another item.
This goes to show you like how favored VP's lineup should have been.
Yeah.
From a draft perspective.
They are back in the win percentage, 54 to 46. That's
unbelievable.
That's what it says right now.
Dire's bottom
Another
shroud is under
insane
attack.
game, another insane series, it seems. Maybe not for the reasons you expected. 10,000 gold. That's what no one has right now. He can start buying out moon shards for people.
Could also get the blessing and get another item.
Yep. What would you like to see for him? Another, like, scythe? Some additional control?
A second hex would be bad.
Yeah. After all, they already have... oh, no, they don't actually have Shivas. Resolution. He was going to go for that once. I think that was before he decided Refresher was the play. Shiva's still an item that they don't have, but I don't know how much it helps against this heavy magic damage lineup. And despite having Aegis and Cheese, they're not actually playing for the map right now because
I kind of want them to,
Resolution's
though.
still dead.
Once Rezo's up, like he's about to respawn in 6 seconds. You can make your move a little bit sooner than this because you got Aegis.
Yeah. Start getting some control. After all, you still have 3 minutes for both the Ember Spirit and the Beastmaster buybacks. If there's any time to close out the game, it could be right now.
ED bottom, maybe?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Let's just summoned one for Virtus.pro.
I wanted drama.
Drama it's going to be. Drama is on the menu here at 64 minutes in. This game 1 between these 2 teams. Both of them playing for survival at ESL 1 Hamburg. Oh, hey, we have an Aghanim Scepter for Peter.
This is the most armed I think I've ever just seen him.
Yep. So he's now able to take some Black Dragons. That's why it's sitting bottom lane, constantly pushing that lane in. So just added even more annoying split push on top of what already was an Ember Spirit Chen Beastmaster lineup. He also has level 25, by the way, and that's why those Hand of God heals have been doing so much. 950 heal.
I'm honestly kind of down to see like what the third Rosh looks like.
It is going to be a scythe for no one. He was considering moon shards before that, but I think, yeah. Consuming your Aghanim Scepter, getting some additional control against this Ember Spirit, it can't hurt.
That's a hard pickup by the Pugna.
Dire are scanning.
And just no net worth lead whatsoever. They're gonna be able to find Peter. Just freely throw out the Chronosphere. After all, it's only a 60-second cooldown. This late into the game, any hero being dead for this long.
Push down mid.
Advantage.
Are they gonna do it?
You wanna push right away? You wanna wait for like 30 seconds till Chronosphere's up?
You have to wait because bottom lane has been pushed out. So now Rezo's gotta stop this by himself.
And it's a Siege Wagon push too, so this is actually gonna be a lot of damage on the tier 3.
He's being really careful because no one showed himself.
Yep.
He's afraid that maybe there's Roar on top of him and he just gets bursted in front of his base and he has to use buyback. That'd be the worst case scenario, but as a result, he's just gonna lose that tower.
These little things build up. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have just entered into the longest game of ESL 1 Hamburg. Yeah, the longest one before Liquid versus Nip in the group stage was 66 minutes and 20 seconds. Something about this tournament, man. Just had some long games. Level 25 for the Witch Doctor with the Aghanim Scepter that he has. He's got the Death Ward damage that can actually have a real impact. See, that's why I love Dota going late game, because I feel like I actually don't understand a whole lot. You know, there's so many new things in there, and you just don't know what you're actually gonna see. What's gonna be impactful? What's gonna win the fight? $260 damage per hit, and it has True Strike and bounces.
That's pretty
You get the right kind of Chronosphere with this Death Ward.
And all we've really seen for the last like 30 minutes is just the solo Chronos.
Yeah.
And IP have done a very good job of splitting up.
And IP, I mean, I think this is a great read. They just keep on playing in this bottom lane, right? It takes them so far away from the Radiant base. It may be an opportunity for you to get a pick off. And failing that, you're slowly chipping away at a range barracks. And NIP, they made the read. That the rotation was coming over from all of VP. Resolution could not afford to get picked off, so he calls his team over. Let's clean this out. Viper does walk away with the Pit of Malice stolen, though. Who is actually full up on items right now. He's even got a Lotus Orb in his backpack. They do have some vision up here in the top lane. That's why they're kind of rotating up here. They would love to be able to catch Skeeter as he's split pushing. At this point, I wouldn't even mind him getting like an Aeon Disc for the Ember Spears just to deal with the Chronosphere or something.
Yeah, and it's actually impressive, like the fact that they're avoiding each other this hard.
Yeah.
One team goes one direction, the other team goes the other direction.
All of VP come up to the top lane, and hey, there's Gunnar pushing out bottom, being a nuisance.
PPD's gonna see the Underlord, TP himself back. Gunnar's gonna reset the map again, and now VP have to push out this bottom lane before they can do anything. And round we go.
It just doesn't stop here at ESL 1. Our last level 25 is gonna be Save. Still not there. He's the only one who hasn't maxed out on levels.
That's really what they're waiting for, if I'm honest.
Yeah, let's get the triple shot arrow. Just starts hoping for some 5-second arrows.
And they're all so afraid that they can't really allow one single hero to push out the lanes.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine that VP should still win this game, despite everything that's happened, all the madness.
I mean, the last like 3 minutes of like nothing happening, the Dota Plus win probability's just been edging its way back to the 50% line.
It has been surprisingly correct.
All right, we're gonna try and make some faster moves here. We're gonna use our first aggressive Dark Rift, and this may catch Nip out because they just saw those heroes at bottom lane. 70-minute boundary runes are gonna go for him, and he's gonna be caught. Immediately, Sight the Vice up. They do have the Nullifier to be able to deal with the Aeon Disc in time, so they should be able to finish him off. Unless that heal coming out, force death away, another Scythe coming out. There's no way Gunnar gets out of this one alive with the Decrepify. He will stall his death, but eventually he will fall. Now the question is, anybody else gonna get caught? TP out from Biver, he's good. One hero down. One by one.
Skeeter just gonna check all the runes out, and if he decides to go for his bounty rune, he might just pay for this. But the Hawk's gonna see him. He's gonna get out, makes the right call. Universe also in the corner here, gonna get TP'd out.
I mean, I don't know what else to like. Some of these heroes I'm looking at, I'm like, well, what else are we building? There's still the Moonshard possibilities.
Everyone can get Moonshards.
Like Faceless Void.
You can get an Aghanimus Blessing on Rezo too. He'll give his team a ton of damage.
But how do you upgrade your damage on an Ember Spirit at this point? You're just going to Mind Rapier at some point? He's going to replace his Phase Boots with Boots of Travel. Okay. But at one point you're like, maybe I should just become a physical damage right-click him. try and one-shot some
I
people.
don't know, everyone's BKBs are pretty low.
Yeah,
So this build isn't even that bad.
that's true. That is the power of this late game build between the charge restore time and the Aghanims and the fact that BKBs are naturally going to be low.
Now the lane's been pushed out. VP have to reveal themselves.
Radiant's
Top lane's being
under
pushed.
attack.
And the war of attrition continues.
Listen, I don't care what anybody says at this point. VP, the longer the game goes, they're going to get the advantage. You want to know why, Blitz?
Why?
Infinite scaling. We
That is
forgot
true.
about that.
The Underlord has infinite scaling.
He has 141 permanent
And then you
damage.
get the Aghanim's Blessing, which if we click the Roche, what's
True.
it got?
It does
got the
have-
Aghanim's Blessing.
It has the Aghanim's Blessing. I don't believe it applies to the permanent damage, though. I think it's just the temporary damage. I'm not 100% certain on that,
I'm okay with that too.
but that works too. Dude, they do actually get it. It's actually, if he can get some damage,
This is the fastest Roche of the game.
this is happening very quickly. Ninja's Pyjamas are nowhere positioned to be able to stop this. Despite the fact that they have this Beastmaster that have the Hawks,
Yeah, and they might not know about this.
they
Well,
did
it's
not
too late.
give themselves the opportunity to defend this Roche.
It's taking a little bit of time, but Wild Wing
It's
Ripper.
over. The Hawk's going to reveal the fact that, oh, hey, guys, Roshan.
And Rezo does indeed take it.
All right, well, now he's got that AoE bonus for his allies with the Atrophy Aura. Now, when they do win a team fight, they can demolish the base, but I think that was kind of going to be the case anyway.
Yes, they are. When you're this farmed, it's just a matter of getting into the base and winning a team fight.
Everybody has buyback. Just one pick off. Resolution trying to set up with this Moonlight Shadow. Push out the bottom lane. He has the Dark Rift up so
They
he
see
can
PPD.
join his allies. They do see Peter. Peter gonna be in trouble here. He does have an Ethereal Blade to try and protect himself, but he has to dodge the arrow first. Now he's gonna be psyched up. The Lotus Orb, though, returning onto no one, meaning there's not a whole lot of damage left.
no.
E-Blade going out, and he gets away. And also, quite problematic, Fiverr stole Death Ward. And he also has the Aghanim Scepter blessing. So, another Moonlight Shadow. Let's just keep it going. We've got the 70 seconds off cooldown, so they could just keep
VP's
on
just
trying to
going
assault them.
Or at least they're pretending like they're going for it so that they
They're
can
going to be able to try and get the kill on the Gunner. He's got the mini Doom combo. Epi Kid should be able to get this kill. Oh, the Decrepify. Can he actually pick himself away in time? Blinks up. He gets out. And are we going to TP away? Is there going to be an arrow? No. He gets pulled back by the Chen.
That Chen heal does so much work.
It does. It's so massive. He needs a Holy Locket, man. It's 950 heal. This could be the one game in competitive history where you can go Holy Locket. Psyched up. They're going to try and make their initiation onto Peter once again. It's not the hero that they really are aching for a kill, but they'll take whatever they can get at this point, especially when they end him with the Reaper's Scythe, and he's down for 130 seconds.
That's fine. Getting kills at this point, or buybacks, maybe you can force one of them. They've got the Aegis. They're just going to walk down into mid. They're going to challenge NIP to a fight.
Jump forward, trying to go for more. The Nullifier coming out right as Pugna jumps away. The Primal War
Counter
laid
Roar.
out. It does bounce.
Death Ward, no.
But they're still going to be able to control the Death Ward. Immediately takes out this Void. Can they get the control on the second life? He's going to come back, immediately activates his BKB, turns around Chronospheres with the Dark Ward. This time out for Solo. Puts X inside the Chronosphere. Doesn't do the damage, but Epileptic Kid does. A stolen Chronosphere out for Viper. They got to get the hell out of here. Get away with the Dark Rinse, but oh, Nip, they can't stop him. There's just not enough Force Staffs in the world to prevent
Catch it if you
VP from
can.
getting away. Yeah, just if you can indeed.
You cannot. NIP, I mean, their decision to walk around that Roche pit for so long, their inability to take it themselves, we kept talking about it. VP, even though they've messed up so many different times,
Yeah.
their lineup should be favored here.
And they've got the extra 233 bonus damage on the Underlord because they got a kill. So they're going to be much stronger in this next fight. They have Chronosphere in 10 seconds. This can just keep on snowballing. Haste Rune for the Void. He's going to try and check out the Bounty Rune.
They're going to go for it again. They want to make an aggressive play. Epileptic Kid does have the haste rune. Their lanes are in an okay position. Rezo's gonna push it out. They want to try to find one straggler, but NIP, without any buybacks on some of these heroes, like they do have it on the Ember, but none on the Beastmaster, and that's pretty massive.
This 30-second cooldown on the Moonlight Shadow. VP is just trying to abuse that arrow. He got hit by an arrow. The defensive force death will get him out of the pit of malice. Get him out of the Chronosphere. Can Gunner help him survive with the Decrepit Five, but the Reaper Scythe actually coming down. The opponent Chrono coming up from Fiverr. He actually stole Death Ward on top of that. He's his own combo, but he doesn't want to use it just yet. He needs a little bit more control. The Ember Spirit's going to try and jump in. No one going to be the target here, but he's so tanky, so maybe his Death Ward does so much damage. The help with the Ghost Scepter, a little bit more damage, and finally Solo will fall. They do have a Dark Grip, but it seems like VP, they're content to turn. They're content to try and kill Fiverr here. Decrepit Fight helping them out, so they have a force staff. They need to be able to get him up into the high ground somewhere. The arrow doesn't land, but the Reaper Scythe will. Another death and another buyback coming out from Ninjas in Pyjamas. They only have one left. That's Gunner, the Pugna. He's the only one with a second life.
And they should just back themselves up away.
Arrow revealing the ward on the high ground. Eventually, they'll get it. An Observer ward worth 400 gold because we're well past the hour marker.
Gunner might just get caught here. Does have a blink, but he's gonna get jumped.
Gunner, that buyback, it's gonna have to be used. Now, Nip on their last life for every single hero. And a tier 2 and a base about to be assaulted.
And they've got the buyback on the side of VP. They can just come in with their boots of travel. At this point, they should know they are so heavily favored. Look at how much damage everybody does. Epileptic Kid can get any core at this point, and it'll be worth it.
Oh yeah, they're chunking down this tower. This Atrophy Aura doing so much for them. They do have the Pit of Malice leading out onto Fiverr. Reaper Scythe immediately used on him, but the heal goes out. He's actually gonna survive. You know, Epileptic Kid, he's in trouble. Managed to bomb up the BKB, the Time Walker, the Dream Man, Chronosphere leading out to a defensive Chrono from Fiverr. Doesn't really stop the damage coming out, but maybe the heal from the Gunner. No, he can't actually save his support or Universe. They both end up falling, and now it's gonna be a 3 versus 5 and time to heal, but they are just demolishing buildings. They are a wrecking ball. The power of the Atrophy Aura with the Aghanim Scepter. There is no time. Nip cannot stall this any longer. They have to somehow get in front of these buildings and defend 3 versus 5 as the first initiation on a Fiverr. He's already dead. Couldn't even get a reaction out of Gunner in time to be able to get off that Decrepit Fight. Tries to lay some damage out onto no one, but they're just going to die and found at this point in time. Finish off these heroes once and for all. Gunner's now dead. A happy Chronosphere for Epileptic Kid as Virtus.pro will wipe Nip inside of their own fountain and finally call an end to this game 1.
At a casual hour and nearly 20 minutes later as Rezo looks quite relieved that they were able to escape with that win.
No one. Just so happy they pulled it off finally.